What is interesting though, I did say to one architect that came into council about I needed a context plan, because this plan didn't actually have, it was an apartment building, but it didn't actually have the site on it. It only had the building. Oh, I think I'll land here. So we asked for a context plan, and I got a one-page letter back from a planner telling me why, under clause in the planning, under a district plan, he didn't need to produce a context plan. But I was actually hoping that the context might have informed the design. The first time I used this kind of planning work myself was actually in Piermont Point, which if you're ever over in Sydney, you can go and have a look, but I want you to know that I was responsible for Piermont Point, which is only that part and not for the CSR side, which has gone berserk. But we actually drew up some things we were landed with. I was part of a development corporation. They just thought, oh, sell the sites, James, sell the sites. When I went in there and I asked for a plan, a comprehensive plan, and we did a plan of the whole city and how it's set, how the harbour sits in the Cumberland Plain and everything else. And they said, oh, we don't need any sites over the other side of the road. You know, we don't own those sites. Why do you even want to look at those sites? So anyway, we did that. Again, it's a very comprehensive development that really is a beautiful illustration, I think. The person that did that work died not long after, but seems to happen to all these designers. But it is a very good illustration about that iterative process of design, understanding heritage, because in this one we were able to keep every single building that was standing when I went there, we got to keep, which the developers didn't want to do, including Jones Bay Wharf. Look at that heritage, they said, we don't want it, we don't want it. So we said to them, we worked it out a different way. We said this is X thousand square metres of prime waterfront land on Sydney Harbour within a kilometre of Circular Quay. Oh, well then maybe. And I'll tell you, the rentals in there, fortune. But very accurate drawing. We had RLs, we had to go out and photometrically do whatever the buildings. And heritage building, new building, whole spatial thing happening there. Views to the city, views to the water, that was a very hard thing to keep with the developers. Breathing down your neck, 20 metres across there, 20 metres, 4 flats, 5 metre frontages, 6 floors, work that out. And what I will say is this, look, New Zealand is stunningly beautiful. I think per square metre, it has to be the most beautiful country in the world, certainly the most beautiful country I've ever seen. But it needs beautiful cities. The cities are they're lagging behind, and it's where most people live. I know it's easy to escape, but it's where most people live, and it's about tourism and a whole range of things. So if we're going to achieve beautiful cities, then we need to be holistic, and we need to really understand the meaning of space and how you employ it to make those cities beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. That was fantastic. What an incredible sort of journey through a whole bunch of stuff, from from Serda to Hugh Hefner all in one go. So let's have 10 minutes of some questions. They've thrown out some really interesting ideas. So who'd like to go first? Over there.
Yeah, two things. I would like to make a comment about the Berlin thing that you showed. Coming from there, I followed the press a little bit in the last years, and it's a very historic place, and now they're building this new city castle there. And just for your interest, there's a lot of controversy going on around this. There are a lot of people who don't like it, and there are even people who say, well, you only put a new building up there because you're afraid of space. So that's probably interesting for you to know that people actually say you're afraid of the space that is there, because there was a big building before. It was the old GDR Parliament, the Palace of the Republic. Before that, there was an old city castle that has been demolished after World War II, and now there is this new project which is to be built. I must say it's not my personal view that I think people there are afraid of space, but it's just interesting to know. So there would have been a lot of space, and people try to fill it again.
It is, and I mean, look, I do think Berlin is very... Oh, did everybody hear that question or comment? I think Berlin's very interesting, because when I went there, I thought some of the best buildings were definitely done by the architects that were from Berlin and not the imported architects. And I think there is something about that. I mean, there's a new building going up in Brisbane. I went past it and I thought, what's a Melbourne building doing in Brisbane? And they were Melbourne architects. They, they didn't understand the light, the sun, the, torrential rain or anything. And I do think that the rapid nature of which the Germans reconstructed Berlin after the fall of the wall was just kind of mind-blowing. Now, but that is a bit symptomatic. It's a reflection of German culture, isn't it?
There was a lot of space and it needed to be filled.
Yes. Well, if it was in Auckland, they'd still be deciding what to do with it. Oh, we haven't spoken to the mutton bird farmer from the Chathams. So it is a reflection of our culture. And I kept thinking, well, maybe I'd like a bit more war, but...
Sorry, another question that I had.
Just sorry, there's a lot of people over here. Do you mind? Thank you. Richard, do you want to?
Oh, Jan, thanks for a great presentation. If you've got a silver bullet that will get rid of lawyers. Sorry to put those two close together.
I don't mean to be unkind. My father's a lawyer.
With respect to the RMA, what do we need to do? Do you think that what suggestions, if I was Nick Smith, what would you tell me we need to do to get to improve it? So we actually are thinking about spatially in terms of our city form.
I think one of the objectives is not about, oh, we'll do it if it doesn't have a bad impact on something else. I think one of the objectives is we are going to build really good cities. I think I would get rid of all these hearings. They're not doing anything. They're making worse outcomes. They're not making better, so they're not helping people at all. I actually think in some ways the New South Wales planning system, I never thought I'd say this, but I do think it works better than here, where everything's a resource consent, but nothing's a hearing. Only legal matters go to court. And I would definitely say you need drop-down plans. You can't do this kind of work in a district plan that is, that sits there for years and years and years. You need to have some facility in which you can go in, do design work, say, look, it meets the objectives of the district plan, so what's a drop-down kind of document, which they're very common in lots of countries.
Thanks, I'll pass it on.
I'll write you something if you want to.
Graham, in the back there.
Just on that matter of the district plan, one of the problems we have is that trying to get ahead of the developers, because if you announce publicly that you're going to put some new rules into the district plan, perhaps some of what you've been talking about, then that's signalled years in advance. You find that by the time you get the thing through the process and the inevitable appeals to the Environment Court, 4 or 5 years have gone by. Plus, once developers get a consent, they don't necessarily have to move on immediately. They're given up to 4 years, sometimes with extensions, to develop. So basically it means the city may be as much as 10 years behind the developers, who might be stuffing things up as fast as you come up with your wonderful shiny new plans. So in a way it is the legal aspect of it, the rules, that are actually getting in the way.
They are, and the length of time. The length of time to do plan changes. I don't understand the whole hearings. I do understand submissions, which I think, you have submissions, you need to assess them and everything, but then somebody needs to make a decision. I think, and the profession needs to start being more accountable than what it has been. I mean, we're planning in the last 50 odd years, all of us architects, have not been kind to our cities. So we really need to establish that trust. If I lived in Barcelona and somebody said they're putting in a new tram or they're doing X, Y, Z, I've had reasonable confidence that they're going to do it in a fairly good way. Not everything's right, but reasonable confidence. If they said that when I'm sitting at home in Sydney, I go, what are they going to do to my city? So I think that the whole professions, all the professions have really lost trust with our citizens. So we need to establish that, but I think planning's actually doing whatever level that big plan is should not be taking the kind of time frame it is, because it's almost, as you say, it's self-defeating. It only comes in after everything's built.